The Bugatti killer is here.
Welcome back for the Mobile Gaming Fanatics. I'm MyTyme, this is Top Drives, and today let's start at the most controversial thing in the forums at the moment. Yes, it is the Jesko egg. The Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute. This is the next prize car up for grabs. The qualifiers are underway today, and we are looking at a car with 330 top speed, 2.50 to 60 and 90 handling. Now when we actually look a little bit closer at the car, we can see that it does have great peak power and very high torque. Okay, but people are saying this car is going to break the game. Now my opinion, it may be a controversial one. I do not think it is going to break the game. This car is going to be featured a lot, probably in European events, yes, or European Revolution events anyway. But there are other cars out there which will be able to compete against it. Now this car clearly looks like it's going to excel in tracks like Test Bowl and potentially, depending on its MRA, drags. But if we look at a few of the other eggs you can get, we have a 278 top speed here from the Agera RS. We have again a 273 from the R. We've got 255 from the Agera. There are a few other cars out here which can get close, and even if they don't beat the 330, they are not going to get absolutely annihilated. And then when we look at some of these cars as well, they're not a million miles off the power and the torque, etc. So, okay, clearly this is going to be a stronger car, but there are other cars out there which will be able to kind of compete with it. And on top of that, there are other cars out there, and I'm going to take this egg as an example, which will have better peak power, better peak torque, and clearly look like these are going to be stronger cars in the drag sense. Yes, it might lose in the Test Bowl, but quarter miles, half miles, they should beat the Jesko without too many issues. And if we look at a few other manufacturers, again, I'm going to just quickly go to Rimac, because again, it's going to have the European tag. Another price car to come out, 100 RQ car, again the C2, 1.80 to 60, again a car with extremely strong torque power, a car which looks like it would beat the Jesko in the drags, anyway, the shorter drags for a start. Four-wheel drive on this one, so it's going to be better in the rain, better handling, probably going to be better on the tracks as well. This car is going to be better all around, in my opinion. Without even seeing the MRA of both of them, the Rimac would do kind of everything, whereas the Jesko is kind of going to be a specialist car for where you're going to use it in order to get the victory. That is my opinion. I'm probably going to be proven wrong, but hey, it's an opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Now, what is this going to mean for the game / the events? Well, I don't think it's going to break the game. That is my opinion. Yes, it may have been nicknamed the Bugatti killer because we're now going to see it a lot more than the Bugattis and the Chiron. But you have to remember, the Chiron apparently was the car of all cars when that came out, and the game has still gone on fine with that car being introduced. I think the same will happen here. Now, if you want to try and get the car, what can you do? Well, the best thing you can do is start working on and the qualifiers will let us see the kind of cars that we're gonna need for the finals. You're gonna be working on your 4-seat petrol coupes. Okay, that is the common theme between all these cars. They are all petrol coupes with 4 seats. Now, they do all have different drivetrains. The Porsche has a 4-wheel drive, the Fiat is front wheel, and the Di Tommaso, for example, is rear wheel. So we can't read too much into that at the moment. And while they are all low ground clearance, that doesn't mean that there will not be city streets in the final or something like that. There could be one track, there could be 1 or 2 wet tracks as well. So for the time being, we can't read too much into it, except for the fact that we can be fairly confident that it's going to be coupes, it's going to be 4-seaters. So you can start having a look in your garage at what you've got, non-price cars, and I would be tempted to put in the petrol aspect as well, because while there's not that many hybrid electrics, etc., I do think it is pretty much going to be petrol cars that you're going to have, and you can see the cars that you've got. So at a glance, I look like I have a few epics. So that's a few epics, a few legendaries. You know, that should be okay for the finals. If you click on all cars here, we're going to see the 2 roofs which have been key cars for the last couple of prize car finals, again appearing in this pool of cars. Now, I do not think that is a coincidence at all. I think Hutch have decided to pick a requirement which includes both of these cars, because people have been working on these cars recently and it makes them feel more justified for doing so. And along with that, it has also included a lot of other legendary cars, meaning people have more chance of having a legendary or multiple legendaries available already for this final. On top of that, when we go down to epics, we will see there is also an extremely vast selection of epics, meaning that a lot of players will be able to field a full legendary / epic team for the finals. I mean, look, you can see the epics just scrolling down here. Is there any point going into the ultra rares? No, I don't think they're going to have any relevance on this final at all. Now, what we don't know is we don't know the overall requirements. Will something like, for example, the Cadillac be useful because of its medium ground clearance, or will you be wanting to have some, like, a good selection of 4-wheel drive because of the rain? There's going to be plenty of 4-wheel drives in the legendary. We do have a couple of niche cars in the legendary. For example, I'll just pick one of mine here. We do have the Cadillac, which does have medium ground clearance, so hopefully if there is a city street track in this, a car like this is going to have some value. But it does look like loads of people are going to have multiple legendaries in this final, so expect it to be extremely competitive. It's going to be very, very hard to get this Jesko, okay? I can tell you that now. It is going to be extremely hard, but you know how to prepare yourself. How can you win some of these cars? Well, we can use our Ford packs, and that means there are Ford carbon fiber packs in the store, and I would actually come out and recommend these packs as being ones worth buying. Yep, 4 carbon fiber packs I think are some of the best brands carbon fiber packs in the game. I'm avoiding the carbon fiber ×5 because for me this just isn't enough of a discount. I want to see it down at about 5495, then I definitely jump in and purchase it, but for now, not for me. I'd rather buy this, because if we quickly have a look at Ford itself and look at the cars that you can get, it's one of those packs where there is something in all the different categories that you would actually be happy to get. So from a legendary perspective, I would be happy getting the GT or the GT90, mainly for test bowls, etc. This one for tracks. I'd love to get both the FR500 and the GT4, both of these cars. 2 cars I really want to get. I do want to get the Concept as well, and I would like to get the Raptor at some stage. So there are 4 epics here that I'd be very happy to get. And when it comes to ultra rare, if that is going to be my best pull, I still am missing the Ford RS200. Now, even though it's not medium ground clearance anymore, this car is still extremely good, so I would love to get one of those. On top of that, I'd also like a second Ford Escort Rally spec, and for those of you out there who do not have the Ford Edge Sport, this is also a very good pull. So it's a pack where you can open and literally get a car, a legendary or an epic or an ultra rare, and I can be happy with that car, where sometimes you're literally specifically just going for this epic or just going for this legendary, and if you don't get that, anything else is kind of meh. So, you know, with that, yes, we're going to go buy one. Let's just try luck. Let's just try one. I want to keep some gold for the finals in case by some miracle I get 1 or 2 lucky pulls and I'm able to compete for the Jesko. But for now, let's just see, can we get one of those cars? No, the Escort RS Cosworth. I've already got one of these medium ground clearance, useful, worth keeping one, but not the one that I wanted. But you can see what I mean. You know what, we'll do one more. Okay, fine. You convinced me. It doesn't matter, even if it's the red, purple, or that gold for legendary. There's any of them, there's going to be a car that I want to get. A car that I want. Okay, I'll take that. A second Ford Escort Rally spec. So, yes, not the pick. The RS20 would have been, the RS200 would have been the pick of those cars if I had to pick an ultra rare, but that's fine. I've got an ultra rare and I'm happy. Okay, I'm happy, legit happy with that. So let's keep moving. That might actually make its way into the qualifiers, but let's come in very quickly and let's have a look at what you need to do in order to try and get these top 2 rewards. I'm going to say now, for me, I can't get there. Okay, you see my current standing 11 for 8. I've got 2 tickets left. I wanted to move myself up the rankings a bit to give you an idea of the kind of people you're going to be coming up against and the kind of cars if you're trying to aim for the top 10. But considering you can get the premium pack all the way down at rank 51 to 150, that is where I am probably going to make sure that I stay. I will aim for the top 11 to 50, not because I need the Cobra, I've already got this, but just for the little bit extra cash and gold. Now, from a car perspective, we're using Fords and we're using American Frontiers. So just to show you here, I have a few cars, a few Fords, so it looked like it would be an okay qualifiers for me. However, there is no dirt, nothing like that, so the Raptors etc aren't going to be particularly useful. Now, I do have a Ford Escort Rally spec in here because this car is extremely powerful. Okay, it's a great city streets car and it can also do admirably on circuits like karting circuit. Keep it out of the rain, out of choice. Not great with no ABS, no traction control, but although it does have off-road tyres, still very strong car. So for the rain, and there is rain in this track set, I have opted to bring in the Ford Flex with the 4-wheel drive and the standard tyres. Surprising, although it looks like a very big meaty car, and it is surprisingly useful car for such low RQ. So we bought that one in. We bought the Ford Edge in to kind of be the go-to car. It can go on the city streets track, it can go in the rain. We've bought in the GT because it is my fastest, most powerful car, mainly going to be used on the drags, I imagine. And then my filler car at the moment is the Ford Mustang. Now, this could change for the GT, it could change for the Boss. I stopped working on the Boss when it went from medium ground clearance down to low, so I don't think I'm going to really ever continue working on the Boss as it currently stands. So I could work on a GT40, but for now this is the team that I have opted to go with. So we will come up against the first person in just a moment and show you, but let's just look at the kind of cars we're going to come against and show you why I have absolutely no chance of getting into the top 10. And Christian Hink is a good example. Somebody with 2 of the GT4s and a GT90, rounding out with the Flex and the Ford RS500. Now, here's the interesting thing. My current team is 50 points below the maximum cap. So we can already see the kind of cars people are able to bring in. I just cannot compete with those kind of people. People bring in multiple legendaries. Now here, Paula possibly doesn't have the epics etc to go with it, which is why she hasn't got such a strong supporting hand. For me, this is someone who I could play because I have a kind of a more balanced hand, I'd say. Again, we've got the Cobra here. Not having maxed out cars is what's going to cost some of these people from being higher up the rankings. And again, not having a maxed out GTR, what's going to cost some people their places. So we will quickly come against Paula because there's someone with 2 legendaries, but to show you if you use your cars correctly, you can still compete. So the idea here is going to be, I have 2 rain tracks. Now it makes sense to put the Flex in the city streets mall because it's got the ground clearance and it's got the 4-wheel drive standard for the rain. Now I know from the indoor karting I am in trouble. I also know from the 0 to 100 that the Ford Maya is a pretty decent car. So what I think I should do, and I could be wrong in doing this, I think I should put the Ford Rally spec in the indoor karting to let it loose. I think I should be putting the Ford Mustang on the half mile for the victory. I will put in the Ford GT in the karting circuit for the victory, and I will put the Ford Edge in the 0 to 100, hoping that because it has 4-wheel drive and all surface tyres, while it isn't really particularly great at the drag, it won't lose by too many points. So that's what the Ford Edge is here. The Ford Edge and the Rally are here to kind of just fill in the gaps where needed. Here you go. So 28 RQ points less, and it is only lost by 50 points. That's what that car is there for. It beats the RS 500 in the city streets. Here we go. Forward edge again, doing the same thing. It's there to lose gracefully. We get the victory here with the Ford GT, and then it goes down to the last race. And fortunately, the Cobra is going to be good enough to get the win. Now, I could work on some of these cars. I could max out the Cobra and that, but then to be honest with you, they're not really cars that I see myself using long term, so I don't want to work on them. Maxing out a second Escort, cool, because I can use that loads of places in this game. Maxing out the Mustang SVT or putting lots more into my Ford GT. While I use the Ford GT a lot, I've got more cars now which I can use instead of this car. Obviously I've had this car for quite a while, which is why it has played so long and been in my hand quite a lot. Now I've got other options, it's not as prominent. But let's come and just have a look at as high as I can go. Let's just see. So Oliver, what's your team like? Well, you've got the boss, which is going to be easy to beat. You've not maxed it out, don't blame me. Okay, you've been working on your Mustang GTR. We'll play this again. I don't think Oliver has got a team which is going to a maxed out GTR better. Jamie, yeah, I haven't seen too many people, I'd say, apart from seeing Christian. He had an extremely strong hand when he plays, which look like they have a hand capable of maintaining a top 10 spot. I mean, we've already got a disappointment here for him because he hasn't worked on his flex. Maybe he's only just pulled it, but that's a victory for us. We throw in the Ford here, kind of does anything, any rain, medium, whatever, that Ford is just going in on those track sets. Now we specifically bought the Escort for the city streets, and we'll show you why as it comes up against the Ford Focus, which is another extremely good city streets car, but you will see why the Escort rally spec is preferred. And I could take the hairpin like this, but because of the 0 to 60 with the boss, it makes more sense to get a guaranteed win and lose a few points on the twisty road with the Cobra, but we should get enough points overall to get the victory here. So the Ford rally spec gets the victory. Extremely good car. I cannot recommend it highly enough. It is a car you can easily have 2, even 3 copies of, because there will be instances and events where it can just kind of do a range of things, and they're the kind of cars which you get the most value out of in this game, and they're the ones you really want to be working on first. So there we go, we get the victory there with the GT. I do know that I'm going to struggle here, but it's fine because it's only 50 points, no problems. Ford's done is what it was put in there to do, and this would be a tie if he had his Ford Flex maxed out, so we would have just about beaten Oliver. Now while that moves us up into 17th, I am well aware that we will not be remaining there for too long, so you get an idea hopefully of the track sets, the kind of cars you're going to want to use. If you are short of RQ, then you can find the Flex to save some. A couple of the Escort rallies would be extremely useful. However, to really I'd say penetrate the top 10, you're gonna need to have at least 2 legendaries, probably either or both of the GTs, and maybe the GT90, something like that for the drags and that, and then a couple of decent wet / handling cars. If you've got the Ford Escort rally, definitely put that in as well. Now just before we wrap up the video, we do have the Monaco Monsoon event, and for those of you who are in it, if you want to try and get a ceramic pack, which is my aim at the moment in most of these events, get top 10, get a ceramic pack and move on. You will be using German 2005s and mainly rear-wheel drives. The only non-rear-wheel drive that you are allowed to bring in, I opted to go for my X5. This was the team I was using because it is all rain and I don't have any maxed out better cars. I can't bring in the M3 because it's just going to get destroyed. Was thinking about bringing in the M6 convertible, but I don't know if this is an improvement or not. Really, I'd like to drop out the BMW 730D, but kind of RQ wise, this is what I was going with. It should give me a reasonable chance of maintaining a top top 10 position. As you can see, all these people, none of these become easy matches for me. Okay, none of these are particularly easy matches. They all provide me with some kind of challenge along the way. So which one am I going to go for? Let's just play Sven, just to show you. All rain everywhere, some drags and everything. So for me, it looks like I'd want to do something like 1-2. I know that you're not great, so I think you know what? City streaks like this, and we take a big defeat on the drag, but hopefully we've got 4 victories along the way to compensate for that. Now I would normally play these to the end, but I'm just going to skip it because there's not too long left in this monsoon event, and it's just to show you, in case you are trying to squeeze into those top 10, the kind of cars which you would ideally want to use, and you want to have a much better hand than mine. So with that, we do also have the challenges coming to an end, so do bear in mind Road to Riches is finishing. Make sure you've come in, use your loyalty coins to collect those prizes, get that cash, 100k up for grabs there, and make sure you've used your victory coins to collect those free ultra rare prizes. For those of you who have said that this daily event has been far too easy and not challenging, while I do agree with that, I honestly think it's more for the newer players who are still stuck in single player, grinding out the campaign, not able to do as well in the events and stuff. I think it's there to give them more resources, more ways to enjoy the game, and for the more experienced players, it's just extra, just kind of extra cash, extra cars, etc. So you can't complain. So I've been happy to do it, been happy to not be too challenged by it. If you want more of a challenge, the monthly challenges here. Make sure you do those 5 attempts each day, 25 races to be done, so you can get that Arc 7 key if you want to try and get that Maserati legendary prize card at the end of it. I can tell you, while round 20 in that wasn't too difficult for me, you are going to be using epics, you are going to be using ultra rares in order to complete this. So for newer players, this challenge is going to be challenging, and it's going to be out of the reach for a lot of people to get this key. But don't worry, that this key isn't going to be essential if you want to still get that legendary car. You only need 2 of the Arc 7 keys over the next 3 months in order to be able to still have a chance of getting that Maserati at the end of it. You just need to get the keys here if you want to try and get the Chrysler super rare prize, which I can't get because I'm missing other prize cards anyway. But that's a previous video. You can go and watch that if you want to know what you need for those. Anyway, for this video, we are going to leave it there. Thank you as ever for watching. 4 carbon fiber packs, they can't complain. I can't complain. I got a card that I wanted, so I'm happy with that. The actual qualifiers are just going to be playing for the sake of playing, get some rewards, get some cash, get some cars. The cash reserve is building, so we're going to be in a position we can work on cars if we need to, and we'll see how the next few days pan out, and potentially start working on 1 or 2 cars that I think are going to be useful in the final, like my Porsche 911. And yeah, we'll see if we can give ourselves a chance to get that egg. Anyway, I've been MyTyme. Thank you for watching as ever. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section below. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you all soon.